Welcome back. So as I'm recording this, we are 1 week and 1 day away from the start of the preseason. And once we get into the preseason, historical videos end up kind of going by the wayside. And that includes the career videos, all that, because the day-to-day stuff really just takes over. You have preview, review, news of the day, and a lot of stuff going on. And so today we're going to talk about the Calgary Flames. As I go through, make sure I've got every team done. Obviously, I don't have a playoff history for 20 years for Vegas or for Seattle, who haven't played a game yet. But I'll get through everybody else. We're going to talk about Calgary, and I'm wearing this nice red jersey with the Blasties on the shoulder, which I wouldn't mind seeing this come back as a third. Just saying. 99 2000. We're going to start there. I start all the videos here because if I did the entire playoff history, it kind of ends up being the same as the team history videos I did a couple years ago. So 99 2000, this was during a downtime for both teams in Alberta. 31, 36, 10, and 5 was the record, no playoffs. A lot of economic uncertainty about both of the Alberta teams at this point. Valari Bure was the leading scorer for Calgary, 82 games, 35 goals, 40 assists for 75 points. 2000-2001, the record gets worse. 27, 36, 15, and 4, no playoffs, but Jarome Iginla leads them in scoring 77 games, 31 goals, 40 assists for 71 points. It is not the last time we will talk about Iginla. Nowhere near. 2001-2002, the team's record gets better. 32, 35, 12, and 3. Still no playoffs. Iginla leads them in scoring in 82 games, 52 goals, 44 assists, 96 points. One of the best goal scorers in the NHL. And already the discussion is, it's a shame that he's in Calgary because he is one of the best goal scorers in the NHL, if not the best at that point. 2002-2003, they finished 29, 36, 13, and 4, so the team's record gets worse. Iginla leads them in scoring again. 75 games, 35 goals, 32 assists for 67 points. So 03-04, this is the last year before the salary cap, and they had a pretty good year. 42, 30, and 7. In the first round, they knocked out Vancouver in 7. Second round, they knocked out Detroit in 6. And in the conference finals, they upset San Jose in 6. Surprisingly, they were in a finals that they would lose in 7 games. There was a controversial non-goal during that final series, but still, Tampa Bay wins that series. Jarome Iginla was the leading scorer for Calgary. No surprise there. 81 games, 41 goals, 32 assists, 73 points in 26 playoff games. 13 goals, 9 assists for 22 points. And if they had won that Stanley Cup, the Conn Smythe might have gone to Kiprusoff, might have gone to Iginla. It was a pretty good time. So then we have the lockout, of course, 04-05. We go into the 05-06 season, and Calgary's still pretty good, 46, 25, and 11. But in the first round, Anaheim takes them out in 7. Jarome Iginla leads them in scoring again, 82 games, 35 goals, 32 assists, 67 points. In 7 playoff games, 5 goals, 3 assists for Iginla, who is one of the more dangerous players in the league. And when Iginla played, my concern was always, okay, don't get him fired up. They got him fired up. Here we go. 06-07, 43, 29, and 10 was their record. They lost in the first round against Detroit that year in 6. No shame losing to Detroit. Iginla's the leading scorer again, 70 games, 39 goals, 55 assists, 94 points. Very good season for Iginla, who added 2 goals and 2 assists for 4 points in 6 playoff games. So you go to 07-08. They finished 42, 30, and 10. They're in the playoffs again, but they lose in the first round against San Jose in 7. So this is their pattern now. Good enough to make the playoffs, not good enough to get out of the first round. Iginla, 82 games, 50 goals, 48 assists for 98 points. In 7 playoff games, he records 4 goals and 5 assists. So again, Iginla's playing very well. This team's decent, but that conversation again is there of, so if Iginla wants to win a cup, does he have to leave Calgary? 2008-2009, they finished 46, 30, and 6. They lose in the first round against Chicago in 6. Iginla, 82 games, 35 goals, 54 assists, 89 points. In 6 playoff games, Iginla records 3 goals and an assist for the Calgary Flames. And then they fall out of the playoffs. And it becomes an even rougher time now for fans who want to see Iginla win something, because this team is going in the wrong direction. They finished 40, 32, and 10 to miss the playoffs. Iginla does lead them in scoring, 82 games, 32 goals, 37 assists, 69 points. 2010-2011. The record gets mildly better at 41-29-12, but they're still not in the playoffs. So they have 94 points that year, no playoffs. Iginla, 82 games, 43 goals, 43 assists, 86 points. Very consistent, excellent player who's on a team that's just not able to make that jump. 2011-2012, they finished 37-29-16, no playoffs. Iginla, again, leads them in scoring, 82 games, 32 goals, 35 assists, 67 points. All the way through. It is Jarome Iginla leading this team in scoring from 2000-2001 until 2011-2012. It's his team. And yet, no success. The closest they get is, of course, the 2004 Stanley Cup run, which ended in Game 7 in that Stanley Cup final. So 2012-2013, Iginla makes his exit during this season. They finished 19-25-4 and finally seem to embrace the idea that maybe they need to go through some kind of a retool or rebuild. Camilleri is their leading scorer that year, 44 games, 13 goals, 19 assists, 32 points. So, 2013-2014, they finished 35-40-7. It's pretty obvious early on, too, that they didn't get enough for Jarome Iginla. And so the pieces they added for Iginla just doesn't get them any further ahead. Hudler is their leading scorer, 75 games, 17 goals, 37 assists, 54 points. But in 2014-2015, they do manage to get their way back into the playoffs for the first time since 2009. They finished 45-30-7, but in the first round, after beating Vancouver, in the second round, they lose against Anaheim in 5. So beating Vancouver, that's doable. Winning after that, a little bit dicey there as Anaheim takes them down. Hudler, 78 games, 31 goals, 45 assists, 76 points. Maybe his best season in the NHL there. And 11 games in the playoffs, 4 goals and 4 assists for Jiri Hudler. 2015-2016, we now get into where Johnny Gaudreau is the centerpiece for the team. 2015-2016, though, they finished 35-40-7. No playoffs. Gaudreau's the leading scorer. 79 games, 30 goals, 48 assists for 78 points. He's a steal in the draft. 2016-2017, they finished 45-33-4. They do make the playoffs, but in the first round, they lose to Anaheim in 4 straight. Johnny Gaudreau, 72 games, 18 goals, 43 assists, 61 points to lead the team in scoring. In 4 playoff games, he records 2 assists. One of the knocks on Gaudreau is his playoff record and the amount of points he's put up in the playoffs thus far. And there is definitely some reason for that. I get it. 2017-2018, they fall back out of the playoff race. 37-35-10. Johnny Gaudreau does lead them in scoring. 80 games, 24 goals, 60 assists for 84 points. 2018-2019, the best season they have had since the early 90s. Like, it's easily the best season on this board. They finished 50-25-7 and finished first in the West. And then in the first round, they lost in 5 to Colorado. And it was a tough loss for Calgary that year. One that I don't know that they've fully gotten over as of yet. So Johnny Gaudreau led them in scoring that year, 82 games, 36 goals, 63 assists for the dreaded 99-point season. Dreaded because you're one off of 100. And in the playoffs, he just had 1 assist in 5 games. So this is where that conversation starts of whether or not Johnny Gaudreau is going to lead Calgary anywhere in the playoffs. And until they manage to get beyond round 1, it's going to be a conversation. 2019-2020, did they get beyond round 1? Well, they finished 36-27-7. They did win in the qualifying round against Winnipeg. They won that series in 4. A series which saw 2 key members of Winnipeg get knocked out in the first game, and then Calgary kind of ran them out after that. Matthew Tkachuk's the leading scorer that year, 69 games, 23 goals, 38 assists, 61 points. But in 6 playoff games, he records a goal and an assist for 2 points. So again, that question of whether or not this core is going to get them over the top in the playoffs is still out there. And technically, the loss against Dallas in 6 was a first-round loss. So second round here, first round. So they haven't got out of the first round in the last 3 times they've tried. 2020, 2021, a disappointing season by any standard. Calgary was supposed to be back in the playoffs, and they weren't. So they finished 26, 27, and 3, missed the playoffs for the second time in 5 years. Johnny Gaudreau is the leading scorer. 56 games, 19 goals, 30 assists, 49 points. Now, in the offseason, they've added Coleman. When asked about the lack of big changes, GM Brad Treliving basically said it's not easy to make big changes. And we'll see whether or not this works, right? We'll see whether or not this same core coming back for another year, if that does manage to get over the top. Calgary's had some opportunities. Obviously, 2004 stands out. Jerome Iginla always kept them in it. There were years that they were closer to the playoffs than they probably should have been because they had Iginla on the roster. They've never really done a full-on rebuild. They've always tried to keep themselves in the hunt. And yeah, I mean they've made some good deals over the years. There are definitely some head scratchers in there too. But the interesting thing is when you look at the playoff numbers for players in Calgary uniforms, it's a question of which one of these players will be that guy to get them over the hump. Sean Monahan, in 30 games in the playoffs, 10 goals and 11 assists. He has the highest totals in the playoffs of Calgary Flame players who are on their roster right now. Like, these are just Calgary games. Johnny Gaudreau in 30 playoff games, 8 goals and 11 assists. That needs to be better. Backlund, 30 games, 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points. Backlund is more of a defensive forward who adds a point here or there. So those totals aren't bad. Rasmus Andersson, 15 games, 4 goals, 4 assists for him in his playoff career. Elias Lindholm, as a member of the Flames, 15 games, 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points. You would want that to be higher. Giordano, who's now in Seattle, played 23 playoff games for Calgary, 1 goal and 6 assists. And you would think he would have played more playoff games. You would think there would have been more points. There just isn't. Andrew Mangiapane, 15 games, 3 goals, 3 assists. It's a guy like Mangiapane that they need to get hot. They need that kind of oomph from their depth scoring, especially if this core continues to have trouble generating a point per game. Lucic in 10 playoff games, 1 goal, 5 assists. He's a good playoff performer. Dubé, 10 games, I should say, 4 goals and 1 assist for 5 points. Matthew Tkachuk in 15 playoff games, 3 goals and 2 assists. And again, that needs to be better. Matthew Tkachuk needs to be better in the playoffs. And Hanifin, 15 games and 5 assists for him. And of course, for Tkachuk back in the 2020 playoffs, because people are going to mention this, he was out with a concussion when it all went down against Dallas. But that series against Dallas, there were just moments in there where they could have gone up and taken control, and they just didn't. And they need that killer instinct. They need to find it. And I think they have the roster that has the kind of depth at every position that they need. And I think Markstrom can be that goalie in the playoffs, as he showed in 2020 with Vancouver. It's a matter of Calgary being able to put it all together and get that first Stanley Cup since their only Stanley Cup in 1989. So can they do it? That's the question I have for all you fine people out there. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.